All right. Thanks, LP. Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Captain Ezekiel. I'm a horror speedrunner. I've been here before. I ran Village here some years ago, and I ran RE7 at one point as well, probably. Um, I think I have, anyways, there's a good to fair chance I have ran 7 somewhere at some point. And I have Niddle on comms. Niddle, if you want to introduce yourself.
What up? My name is Seattle. I'm a horror speedrunner. I've also done some stuff for Breaking the Habit, and I do Silent Hill and Resident Evil and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we got Silent Hill F. So we're doing a hard new game, which is hard is the hardest difficulty you can play a new game. There is a new game plus exclusive one called Lost in the Fog, which is arguably easier because you have NG plus assistance. On new game, this game is very very difficult, even on story. So we're in for a very interesting time. So I'll go ahead and count it down. Puzzles are also on story because it's the fastest. So timer will start as soon as I skip this first cutscene. We're gonna do the pink rabbit bonus costume because it's
Yes.
awesome. Gotta have it. All right, time will start as soon as I skip this cutscene. So that'll be in three, two, one, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So Silent Hill F, new game, brand new in the Silent Hill franchise. First new release in the IP in what, 12 years?
Geez, at least, yeah. I mean, it's arguably longer if you're considering like sort of Team Silent OG games and not spin-offs. But yeah, it's been a minute since we had a new entry in the Silent Hill series.
Yeah, it's a very different entry too. I'm not super aware or privy to Silent Hill as I've mostly only played like Silent Hill 2 remake. And I've watched a lot of Silent Hill, but Niddle is a lot more of a Silent Hill like aficionado. He knows way more about the game, and a lot of people confirm this is very very different than your average Silent Hill experience in almost facets, especially in combat. This is where this game is very different. And it's kind of a dividing point in like the game's reception is the combat is very special. I guess is the word I'll
Yeah.
use. What do you think about the combat in the game?
Yeah, it's definitely a departure from most other Silent Hill games. Silent Hill isn't a series known necessarily for its combat. Like the combat is kind of secondary to storytelling and the atmosphere and stuff like that. But there is a much bigger emphasis on combat in this, which is kind of funny because we're playing as Hinako, who is a 14-year-old girl, and yet she's gonna like beat some of these monsters down with some like counters and parries and all sorts of like focus moves and stuff like that. So all that stuff is relatively fresh for the Silent Hill series, and understandably there's like some mixed reception around it. Some people not a fan of the combat. It's pretty fun once you get to like really master it, but most people on their first playthrough choosing hard difficulty had a kind of rough experience because the game really just kind of throws monsters at you in some of these areas. So we're running away from the fog at the moment. This first sort of like 5 minutes ish is just kind of setting up the town and the characters and stuff. We're playing as Hinako. Our three friends are in town, and we're kind of just looking for them and trying to find them. We're being chased by a fog monster, so like there's going to be some sort of segments where we're just kind of like running and not too much gameplay, but then those segments are heavily padded by like some really intense fights where everything kind of has to be perfect, otherwise we die.
Yeah, this game is very what I would say is backloaded. It's even like this like casually and speedrun wise, where the back parts of the game, like the later half of the game, are extremely intense. They
Yeah.
put a lot of combat, forced combat, um, later in the run, and you'll see they're not easy. None of them are very very easy, especially considering how tight the areas are. But yeah, like Neil said, we're playing as Hanako. Our three friends are Rinko, Shu, and
Sakuko.
Sakako. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Escaped me for a moment. Um, just like any other like normal survival horror game, we're gonna have like an inventory. You can see it down at the bottom right. That's when you see that, that means I'm holding down my middle mouse wheel button just to check my what I have and everything. After the fog monster chase, you can automatically put in a critical health. It's technically a time loss to heal. Uh, what I'm going to do is stay at this health because the odds of dying are usually pretty low at the very beginning here. Not zero. I'll make sure that's very
Yeah.
clear. It's definitely not zero, so there is a chance I die. There is a good to fair chance I die at some point during this run since um deathless runs of hard are already pretty rare. Even the current world record doesn't have a deathless run in hard. And I didn't have one until I broke record not a bit a while ago to have a deathless run in hard. Would be nice to do it, but it is challenging, and you will see why. On hard, not only do enemies hit incredibly hard, our stamina usage is significantly higher on hard than it is on story, which means we don't get to like run in combat for as long, and we don't get to dodge as much.
Yeah.
And this is the first like enemy we run into. This is kind of an introduction to like the enemy types. They're like mannequins, and they're very very lethal.
Yeah, and sort of similar to like a Souls game, a lot of the enemies have this really dramatic sort of wind up to their attacks, which can make them really hard to kind of predict. Like there is just sort of variable timing in how quickly they're actually going to launch into their attack. Um, and there are certain enemies that are sort of mandatory grabs, and in our current health state that would actually kill us. You cannot like wiggle out of a grab, you can't break out of it, you're just sort of forced to take the full damage from the grab, and it's a lot. um,
Yeah, on hard, if you're half health or lower, you will automatically die to any grab in the game,
yeah,
which is super brutal. But thankfully, a lot of the grabs that happen from like the scripted enemy grabs are predictable, and you can kind of preemptively dodge to avoid them. However, the when Diddle talked about the wind up on enemies, it could be a blessing and a curse because if they do long wind ups, a lot of the time it can be good because you can run past them or avoid them. But it is RNG a lot of the time, so you can run past an enemy you're used to seeing do like a big wind up, but instead they do a really quick attack and you just get stabbed for half your health.
yeah.
And it's very very unfun.
Should mention like whenever you see Zeke pull up the HUD, you see there's like kind of three bars at the bottom. There'll be a fourth. So the top bar with the flowers is actually our sanity, and that's going to be really relevant. It's almost sanity is not a very accurate description of it. It should be called like a focus meter or something like that, because that's primarily what we're going to be using it for. The bar at the bottom is our stamina, and Zeke has to be really careful not to run that out, because if you run out of stamina, Hinako, if she's in combat, she will literally just stop moving for like 3 or 4 seconds till she waits for stamina to come back. So it can be really dangerous. And then the bar on the left that kind of looks like a moon, that is our weapon durability. And weapons actually have durability in this game. Different weapons do different damage. In particular, the knife does a lot of damage and very quickly. So we're going to be prioritizing the knife. And you saw Zeke just now pick up a toolkit, which can obviously be used to repair our weapons. So we have kind of like a Breath of the Wild weapon system where the game is expecting you to break your weapons, and kind of inevitably you will break your weapons. But the important thing is that Zeke repairs his most important high damage weapons like the knives, potentially the crowbar later. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and we have our first forced combat. That right there is a counter. Basically, an enemy can do like a window where you can right click and you'll essentially get a really powerful hit. And I'm going to do a focus attack on this first enemy. We want these stagger states because it makes them take a lot more damage. And then we need this guy to kind of get away from the flowers.
Yeah, if you get caught by those flowers, it's death.
Yeah, it is brutal. That first combat area is actually a possible reset point. If that third enemy there walks into the flowers, you can't go in there because you'll get grabbed and then you'll die.
Yeah. First puzzle here, quite simple. Just have to put the pieces in the right spot. This is we are now in kind of the other world, I guess you'd call it, in this version of Silent Hill, which it's kind of like this watery sort of shrine. Like there's a specific name for these types of like
I think
Japanese
it's called.
shrines.
I think this place is called like I think they call it the Dark Shrines. At least what it's
Yeah,
called in this game.
yeah. There's a name in Japanese for these specific shrines. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember it though. But yeah, this is sort of our other world, and when we're in the other world, we don't have our regular weapons, so we'll be getting a couple weapons that we'll be using in the other world for at least the first sort of half of the game, and then and then the other world takes a drastic change in terms of the weapon
Very
choice.
very drastic change.
Yeah, um, but yeah, a lot of these sections, in terms of lore, there's this fox dude, and he's kind of appearing to us in these other world sections, and he's kind of leading us through. And I won't get into too much of the plot because if you haven't played this game, you should definitely try and play it. The story is probably the best part about the game. So right here,
Yeah.
he picks up this little dagger, and that's going to be our first weapon, which we will not use at all.
Yeah, we'll hopefully not use it here at this first part. Now, there's a strat here on hard. There's a forced enemy that spawns that stops us from doing an RNG puzzle where we have to flip around three EMA plates and grab basically a lock. There's a crawler enemy that spawns, probably the most frustrating enemy type in the entire game, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
there's a strat we can do. If I do a bait and a line correctly, I can kind of force him to de-aggro, but it's really, really precise. And if I mess it up, I'll probably have to kill him. In which case, we will use the dagger, which this dagger swings like a knife and looks like a knife, but it does not do anywhere near the same amount of damage a knife does. It actually does very little.
Yeah.
So
Kind
I'm
of
going to go up here and trigger this dialogue so that the game lets me progress because it is kind of tied to that trigger before I can do these puzzles. And I'm going to basically walk all the way back to where I started, and this is when the enemy is going to spawn, and hopefully we'll grab that divine water. There's a few pickups. You're gonna hear me reference, and it'll reference Higashi's and divine waters a lot because they're very, very relevant.
Yeah. Higashis, they are a Japanese candy. It's like a little rice sugar candy. And they restore our stamina fully and keep it at max for like almost like 2 minutes, I want to say. Like it's a really
Yeah.
long time. Um, and those are incredibly valuable in some of these combat sections, especially some boss fights and stuff like that. Because, like I said, if you run out of stamina in a combat section, you're on a cooldown for like 4 seconds. And besides being slow, it's really dangerous to not be able to move. Like you can't dash, you cannot move backwards, you can't even walk. So stamina conservation is like really critical in all categories of this run.
Yeah.
And you may notice,
Unfortunately,
yeah,
we aggroed him, so we have to
yeah.
kill him.
I was gonna say, you may notice there's no durability on these weapons while we're in the Dark Shrine. These weapons last forever, which in the game, casually, you're like, oh, sweet, these weapons last forever. That's awesome. And then you realize that they're kind of like way worse than the weapons that you have in the real world. And you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not as sweet.
This is an RNG puzzle. Oh, there it is. So we were looking. I already know where the crane is because I saw it at the very beginning. That's gonna be the last one we get. So we need a snake, a crane, and a turtle. So we got the snake. So we need to get the turtle. That enemy we just killed. I see the turtle right in front of me. That enemy we just killed. He respawns. After a certain amount of time. There's a lot of enemies in this game that will do that. Mostly in the other world, they'll respawn. So we have to interact with those. Usually it's after the second one you get that he will respawn. But since we killed him not too long ago, we should be safe to get to where we need to be before he becomes incredibly problematic. Uh, that enemy type is very scary because they hit incredibly hard and they swing a lot and they are really, really fast. They're like the dogs of this game. Like the dogs in like every survival horror game are always just awful, and they are no exception.
Yeah. And the game does throw a whole bunch of them at us all at once in a few parts, like the part coming up after this.
Yeah, there's actually not much RNG in this game in terms of puzzles. Just that one right there is probably the biggest one. The rest of them are all pretty static. Like this, the solutions are all static. On New Game Plus, actually, a lot of them are pre-solved, and you don't really have to do anything. You can just go straight to the end.
Yeah, New Game Plus is actually it's more linear, but it's pretty pretty chill comparatively.
Yeah, New Game Plus is really fun because you actually get to feel very powerful in what is otherwise a
Yeah,
very frustratingly you feel underwhelming a lot of the run.
yeah. So this part, there's going to be at least one or two other parts like this with like this red mist. Our sanity is draining the entire time, and our stamina is draining the entire time because we're in combat, which sucks. It's not great. So you're gonna see Zeke intentionally walking there for a little bit just to gain his sanity back, and Hinako kind of like holds her head whenever these loud sort of tinnitus sounds happen, and you can kind of dash out of it. You'll see Zeke did that right at the end, but in hard, you actually, or in new game rather, you actually want to use that to your advantage and restore some sanity while Pinnacle is walking.
Yeah, if I were to dash out of every single one, I would have no stamina, and that enemy
Yeah.
that you saw hit me there, like I said, they're really fast, and there was 3 of them there, and if they catch up to you, they can just hit you on repeat. And those enemies specifically have this really nasty lunge jump attack, where if they hit you twice or swing twice, they'll pin you to the ground, and it does like 75% of your health. It is disgustingly brutal.
Yeah. No iframes, by the way.
Yeah,
Hanako does
no
not
no
have.
iframes at all in this run, except for under very specific cutscene based circumstances, and those are very rare. Even then, you can still get hit through a lot of cutscenes and transitions.
Yeah.
We do have a dodge, like we've been talking about and using. Perfect dodging is very very crucial in a lot of different reasons. The biggest one is that obviously you can dodge an attack and you'll get all your stamina back. That is like the big thing about perfect dodging, is that you get all your stamina back, and it's going to be relevant on this boss if I hit it. But this is probably one of the trickier bosses to hit it on because it's a really hard move to really telegraph. Um, now that we're past the first 2 chapters of the game, we're now in more combat oriented. You're starting to see a lot more enemies, and things get a little bit scarier. Uh, and like this is the telegraph grab that I can perfect dodge because that one's really easy to tell. Just like there's another one here right around this corner because this is where the game introduces you to getting grabbed.
Yep. Those grabs, they lose like 9 seconds, and they also really, really hurt.
Yeah, they are brutal. But we also picked up a different weapon. This is kind of like the knife, except it's a sickle. It does a little bit less damage, has a little bit more durability, but it's really still a very, very good weapon.
It might be poisonous.
And now we
Yep.
have the storehouse boss guy.
Little mini boss. So the goal here is to kill him so that we can operate the well. And this guy has a pretty sort of predictable moveset. Like he has a few specific attacks that he'll do, like this sideways swing, as well as the little yell that he did at the beginning, and he's dead. So now we're on a timer to crank this before he wakes back up, because he will respawn. And then after the first crank, we'll have an enemy spawn right around this corner here, who can be a problem. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, the grab. Yeah, so there was a chance that the enemy offered a parry window so that Zeke could have countered, which would have, at the very least, stunned her for long enough for him to get this. But that wasn't too bad.
All right.
So yeah, you can see the guy is back alive. It's kind of weird because the game doesn't tell you till way later that enemies respawn, and that like it's a feature of the Dark Shrine world that enemies respawn. But this section specifically is kind of contradictory to that because we're not in the Dark Shrine area, and that guy respawns. So yeah, I don't
So
know.
what's that all about?
I don't know. It's weird.
That extra enemy spawning is what makes that so horrible. Because that enemy is RNG on like how fast they are. Because you can see she ran at me right away, and then she did a grab, which is like the worst possible option she could choose. Because I can't parry it, I can't do anything. And any extra time I take to kill it makes it so that that guy respawns. And if he does respawn before I can get that out, I'd have to just kill him again. Or else he will just kill me on his own. And
Yeah.
it's insanely hard.
Yeah, that big overhead swing just destroys you, and it like staggers you, puts you on the ground. It's not great.
Yeah. And now we're playing Ocarina of Time, and
Yeah, Lost Woods.
we're in the Lost Woods. The whole gimmick to this is that this little scarecrow here in the front gives you a hint, and you have to find the right scarecrow. Anytime you choose the wrong one, it reanimates and tries to kill you. But thankfully, it is static, and we know which ones it is. The overall gist of it is you're choosing basically the scarecrows that look like Hinako.
Yeah, so the various hints will be like, oh, you betrayed me, I was in the middle of you and him, or something like that. And so you determine that there's one scarecrow that looks like Hinako, kind of in between a boy and a girl. That must be the one. There is an achievement for doing this successfully with no mistakes, and it is one of the rarest achievements on Steam, which says to me that not a lot of people actually understood the hints, and a lot of people were just kind of guessing. And it's funny because you can aggro like every single wrong mannequin in the area. So a lot of people's first playthroughs, they're being chased by like 12 mannequins through this section.
Yeah, and it does a funny thing where towards these last two here, I think it's really just the last one, where they kind of have a weeping angel effect, where if you don't look at them, they just start chasing you anyways, even without choosing the wrong ones. But because we know exactly where to go, we typically just completely avoid it.
Right. Yeah. It is a pretty cool section, casually, but I was always like, five? Really? We have to do this five times?
We were hoping when we were first like routing this that we could just run to where we needed to go, but you
Right.
have to interact with them and you have to go the direction they're pointing, like almost exactly, because if you don't, you'll get the Lost Woods thing where you get warped back to the beginning of that area.
Yeah. And if you're me, like I have a really hard time following directions. So even though the scarecrow like points in the right direction, sometimes I just like walk into the fog somehow. It's like,
I mean, they're not very accurate too. I'll be honest. Like sometimes they're
right? It's not.
pointing and it's like to the right of where they're pointing.
Yeah, I want to see a top-down map with the fog removed of the exact like directions that the scarecrows are pointing, and then the actual spot that you're supposed to go. I have a feeling they're mildly inaccurate.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So that's that area. That's chapter 3. Now we're technically in chapter 4. Each time we jump between the dark world and the normal world, it is a chapter. This is where we now finally get kind of introduced more of the combat and what is expected. The game is expecting of you. I would say this first boss, which is coming up at the end of this chapter, called Sakuko, is the first hard skill check of the run, and casually. It's where a lot of people die a lot because Sakuko is kind of a big pain. Um, when I was first writing this, I discovered a strat that we use for Sakuko called the Sakuko one cycle. That we'll talk about a little bit later when we get there. One thing we should mention, and I'll attribute this to being a detriment of the game's design. Your damage is RNG. You don't do the same damage with every hit. The formula for your damage is essentially your weapon damage multiplied by a random base value. Things like the Sakuko one cycle and boss fights that we require like specific damage thresholds become significantly harder when you're not doing the same amount of damage every time. So we're gonna try to go for a Sakuko one cycle, which is very difficult on hard. Not guaranteeing I can do it because if I roll bad RNG, then it's a little unlucky. Otherwise, if we can do it, that'd be awesome. I'm stuck on this wall.
Yeah. The the random damage thing was kind of it's something that I think a lot of people felt casually. Like you would notice, you'd be like, wow, it's kind of weird. Same weapon, same durability. Sometimes I kill this enemy in 3 swings, and sometimes it takes like 5. And
Yeah.
it was kind of like, what's up with that? Like, why is it? And then sometimes you'd hit an enemy and they would immediately go into their stagger, like they would be stunned. And other times you couldn't get the enemy to stun no matter what you did. And there's a lot of random variables that go into it. Even Sakuko, she can take a random stun sometimes, which actually threatens the one cycle more than helps it, because she needs to be stunned at specific times for this to kind of play out the way we want.
Yeah, the
And
stagger stuff's very interesting because each weapon has a different stagger rate, but it is still random at the end of the day. Um, Enemies scary on hard. There's a lot of different enemies in places on hard that aren't normally there on story. There's some enemies that jump from the ceiling here. Yeah, the weapon damage thing, I was genuinely losing sleep over. I remember people who were in the Sign of Love community probably noticed me almost every day typing about how I think weapon damage is RNG or something is weird, doesn't make any sense. It wasn't until we got to like the dev room. There's a dev room in this game, and there's a lot of different things that I went through testing on enemies before we came to the conclusion, because we were under the impression maybe there's like critical hits, but no, it ended up just being damage is random and enemies take significantly more damage. I think it's about like 60% more damage when they're in a stagger.
yeah, we had somebody who's very knowledgeable with Unreal Engine 5 kind of pick the game apart for us, and specifically let us know like the exact sort of formula that goes into damage calculations. And it's like durability plus the damage factor of the weapon plus whatever value your Omamoris have, which we haven't even talked about yet. And then on top of all those variables is a random number. So it's like, oh, sweet, dude.
Yeah, I felt like a conspiracy theorist until I finally got proven right. I was like, oh.
So another running through the red fog area.
And we
This
have
one's
these new
especially annoying.
enemy type, which is also
Yeah.
a very annoying enemy type. These little screaming dolls.
Yeah. So these screaming dolls, if you get caught in their little sound wave, and it's a very generous hitbox with their sound wave, they will stun you. So like that one was going into it right there, but they get down on their knees and then they scream, and that's a big stun.
Yeah, and then basically this area is kind of hold W until we get to the Sakako boss fight. And when I talked about enemies taking a lot of damage when they're staggered, Sakako is a big example of where we abuse that the most, where I try to time specific. There's a quick attack I talked about earlier, where an enemy will just randomly do a quick attack, and that would have done a lot of damage. So switch to the new spear we just got. I'm going to drink divine water to fill up my sanity, and then we're going to run into the Sakako fight, and hopefully we do not get owned.
Yeah, you got this.
I believe.
It's
Pop
a pretty
the-
sick fight when everything goes correctly.
It really is, yeah. We got the AFK Sakako, so that makes the first part a little bit easier. 3
Big
hits,
focus
see what she
back there.
does. So this should stagger her, and I should be able to just left click until she goes into her first dark phase, which on hard we can't skip this dark phase.
Yeah. During
She's
this
gonna
phase,
Teleport,
she,
yeah.
she doesn't take any damage. So should mention you're gonna see Zeke doing almost exclusively light attacks here, and pretty much everywhere, because light attacks actually do more damage and faster than heavy attacks.
Yeah, the only time I utilize heavy attacks is to build up stagger, which I will do in her next phase here. Hopefully she spawns here. And now this is where we're kind of at the mercy of her RNG a little bit, and I have to be able to execute the fight.
Yeah, so she's out of dark phase. We don't want her to go back into dark phase. That's what really loses time on this fight. Those are
Do
heavy
5
attacks there.
hits and hope that's enough. 4, 5. All right, now we're gonna see what she does. Okay, I'm not gonna counter this. We're just gonna do 1 heavy hit to start the stagger, and then she's gonna swing, and then I'm gonna do a focus attack, and then I should have enough time to do 1 more heavy, which should stagger her, and hopefully she dies here before she actually phases. If she doesn't, then we had bad RNG, but we'll see. Nope. Dang.
Damn.
So she's
Yeah.
probably 1 hit from dead.
Yeah.
That's just because we low rolled on the damage. So that part where I did 5 hits only and stopped, I could have tried 6, but it was the same gamble on whether or not I did high or low. So you're kind of coin flipping.
Yeah. And it's a juggle, because there are certain parts where it's like, oh, I could do more damage to her, but then if she's kind of in a neutral animation and she's past the threshold, she'll go back into this dark phase, and there's not really anything you can do to stop it. So it's kind of a tough balance between strategizing damage and stagger. That wasn't bad
Still a
enough.
clean fight though. It was
Yeah.
it was still pretty fast without getting the 1 cycle, and we did not get hit. Getting hit by Sakako takes a crazy amount of damage off of you.
Yeah. Even in story, she,
Yeah, like, she's
actually
brutal.
blasts damage.
All the boss fights in this game are pretty brutal. Like they are not. I don't think anyone is like really. I would consider easy. Like
Yeah.
looking at them, they're all pretty rough. There's a boss fight for Rinko later as well, and Rinko is nasty. Like that is a nasty fight. To try to do fast, which you guys will get to see, and then we have a whole bunch of stuff still coming. We talked about how the game is very backloaded. That usually happens, I'd say, after the middle school. I want to say is about when that really starts, and
Yeah. Picks up.
we start to really pick up on the combat.
Not good. This won't
Yeah,
last much
a few
longer.
tough sections. Right now, like this general section is kind of just get to the next area is our objective, and we're heading to the school, which I think is everybody's. It's mutually agreed is everybody's kind of favorite section of the game, because it really feels like a Silent Hill game during that section. It's very opening doors, getting key items, unlocking new areas. Oh my God, there's monsters there now.
Yeah,
Kinda
the school is
classic.
pretty cool. Very aesthetically pleasing. The puzzles, one of the puzzle, we know the one, those who have played the game, is very questionable. Like it was one
Yeah.
of those very like you were really reaching for that one. Like it's
Yeah.
a thankfully it's static, so we know the solution already. But like, I remember sitting there casually, getting very frustrated, being like, "This doesn't make any sense." It made me feel like am I dumb?
It was funny hopping from like stream to stream, watching other people play it casually, and I was very vindicated seeing them all get just as frustrated as I did. And I was like, okay, thank God it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Partner.
I'm gonna swap over to the pipe. We're gonna use a focus attack in a moment to deflect a blocking enemy. Grab another Higashi. That is the biggest and most powerful thing in this run is Higashis. They are 100% the strongest part of the game. To have infinite stamina for about over a minute is incredibly beneficial, and we use it in a lot of fights. We use it in every single boss fight
Yeah.
because otherwise you only get like, especially on hard, you only get like 4 or 5 swings in before you need to
Run
take a breath.
completely out of stamina, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't just only affect, like we mentioned earlier, swinging. You then can no longer dodge, and enemies will absolutely take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Right, these guys, we need her to do that. Okay, and I'm gonna charge a focus attack running down these stairs because this guy's gonna block and get the swing off early to kind of push her away, so she can't just kill us. Because getting her on her is very, very hard. 'Cause that is a very narrow walkway. There's a reoccurring theme with very short, small places to go through and enemies being right there.
Yeah, they love throwing enemies in the body block spot, like just perfectly in your path and in the most narrow narrow sections.
We go
Yeah.
down here, we have to hit a trigger until she says where are those two, and then
What are those two?
conveniently there's a Higashi down here. We needed to do that so that Rinko and Shu
Hinako, this way.
can open up this path here. And we're also going to get introduced to another very annoying enemy. So like the dog enemies are here. We also have new dogs, which are just dogs but red. Those guys, they're a pain. But then there's another one that's inside this house that we're going to see more of, which is also a very funny time loss exclusive enemy. I don't even know what they're called. They have the same model, similar model to the doll enemy you saw earlier that was screaming, but they instead can spawn vines everywhere. And oh, I dodged awkwardly, but I think I should be good. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, those little vines on the ground, they're the same as the vines that we saw in that opening like fog monster chase. And fortunately, you haven't seen it because if you if you had seen it, it would have been a mistake. Um, but essentially, if you run into those little tentacle vine things in the ground, they lock Hinako in place. So like they are pretty much just a time loss enemy. They also do a bit of damage, good bit, honestly, and hard. But besides the damage, they just kind of waste your time. And while you're locked in place, you can take damage from other enemies. No iframes, no nothing. So you
Yeah,
could just
and this is
totally
a
get
this
beat
is the
down.
worst part of it right here, where that what Niddle just gave us an example can happen right here. If I get good RNG, there's a line I can take that'll get me around this enemy. But if I get bad RNG, I'm gonna have to forcibly take damage here. I think I got the good RNG, but
Yeah,
we'll see how this dog behaves.
nice.
Hopefully this guy is really fast.
Yeah, this dog is
Um,
absurd, and he'll follow you the whole way, and yeah,
yeah, just like that. That guy is. Thankfully, he only got the one hit off, so he should de-aggro once I'm up here. Yeah, but he is a nightmare. Until we learned a little bit more about that, I mean, even there, you can still just die randomly because it is just so much damage you can take.
Cut it out.
But that part is a big reset point where you can just get bad RNG and the dog just bullies you relentlessly.
yeah. Getting hit as you're running away, like up to almost zero health, is just crazy.
Yeah, it's because you'll get hit by one and then you'll try to dodge and you'll miss the perfect dodge and then you'll get hit again. And then next thing you know, you're at 1 HP and you are spamming spacebar praying to whatever god you pray to that you do not
Yeah.
get touched again.
Please let me go. So this is a
Uh,
school.
Yeah, this place is awesome.
Yeah, really cool. In the run, it's way shorter than casual, kind of obviously, but yeah, just a very fun section to explore and a lot of little lore dumps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
we have to grab
our
this
main goal,
hairpin.
yeah, we're getting a series of keys so that we can get another key, as is tradition in the
Yeah,
Silent
as is
Hill
tradition. That's like
universe.
every Silent Hill game, even
Yeah.
Resident Evil. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go around and collect like 3 different keys, and then ultimately we get one key, the key that we originally came for.
Yeah, on the difference between hard and story puzzle actually changes up this place quite a bit. The difference between hard and story puzzles is pretty dramatic in terms of how it actually affects the gameplay. Usually, it's not super impactful, from what I understand, in former games because the overall routing stays very similar. But in this one, it actually changes the routing quite a bit to be on story versus hard.
This is a fun little Matryoshka box puzzle where
Yeah,
we have
this
to
is the
find
one that
schools.
was
Yeah, this one's a
very confusing.
bit of a meme casually, but yeah,
It's hard.
it is interesting. Like Zeke was saying, most other Silent Hill games, the puzzle difficulty is kind of inconsequential to the actual speed run. But in this one, the puzzle difficulty changes literally where you have to go and what key items you need to pick up, and yeah, it's a pretty big difference. Not only like are the puzzles different, but literally the key items that you need to collect are different in some cases.
Yeah, like that hairpin we got at the start, we went out into the schoolyard. On hard, you actually have to go to the complete opposite end to get a different key entirely, and you don't have to open the drawer like the way we did there. But it is obviously you have to run much further, so it ends up being a time loss to do that.
The hint for that is brutal, by the way. It just like it says something about the vice principal was hanging out by the flowers. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay, there's like flowers everywhere, dude. And they refer to a specific patch of flowers, and like the key item is just like it's just on the ground. It's like
very easy to miss.
yeah.
We can talk about Omomoris now since we're actually going to get our first Omamori. We're actually going to use the Wolf Omamori in
My track.
this run. Omomoris are, you can think of them as like charms, think of them as like little trinkets. They're essentially a buff. It's like an equipable item that you can wear that gives you a special effect. This one's special effect is the only one that we use here on hard, which is it increases the damage of your weapons as long as they have high durability. And weapons have a specific text that tells you whether or not it is high or low or medium when you're using it in terms of its current available durability left. We don't get a whole lot of swings with that on the knife. It's about 5 swings we get with it. But that extra damage actually ends up being very, very impactful later.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting early on, like because there are 41 Omamoris in the game, and just kind of there were a lot of ideas thrown around about like which Omamoris are optimal. There's like kind of a gotcha system where you can spend the in-game currency, which is faith, on Omamoris, and so like
Yes.
honestly, the majority of them you get through that little gamble system. And it was kind of like, okay, is this RNG? Are we gonna have to roll for an Omamori? And if we don't get it, we just reset. And like, a lot of deliberation with what to do about Omamoris, and some of them have like really interesting effects. Unfortunately, the ones with the most interesting effects are pretty much exclusive to New Game Plus.
Yeah, it's really a shame. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, probably the most high risk, high reward sort of interesting one is called the Daisy Omamori, and it makes Hinako one hit kill, but you have infinite stamina and infinite sanity as long as you have it equipped. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, so now we're back in the Dark World. This area is rough. There's enemies you can see all over the place, and they're in very tight areas. The gimmick of this area is the little blue light. That when they get into the blue light, they can get stunned, and they also, when they die, they can't reanimate when they're in the blue light, which does not work all the time. But they, it's yeah, no, it's super frustrating.
Yeah. If you had tutorials on, this is where they tell you there's a little tutorial window pops up and it says, "Hey, the blue light will prevent enemies from coming back." But when you come back to this section, all the enemies are back. So sorry for the cat in the background. She's going crazy.
Tori's going crazy. The most biggest benefit of the blue light. Oh, I forgot about this enemy. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's an enemy here, and my brain like lagged on it a little bit. It doesn't kill us, and I get a second here if I dodge backwards. I'm gonna use the first aid, and I should be able to get this down before they can get to me.
Oh my god, the welcoming committee is here.
Yeah, my brain was like, "There's an enemy here. Remember to dodge it," and then my brain did not talk to my thumb to press spacebar. It's all right. Not a huge deal. Thankfully, that like what I was about to say is the best part about the blue light unironically is that it stuns enemies when they walk into it.
Yeah.
So that's what saves us in those situations.
It does suck though, because if they start the attack before they reach the blue light, they will continue the attack into the they'll continue a lunge and a grab into the blue light.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I noticed that with like the mannequins, however, if they do a grab, like the one that grabbed me, if you dodge at the same time she grabs you, but you get hit by it and she falls into the blue light, it'll actually just immediately release you, but you'll take the damage from the grab.
That's crazy.
All right, now we got that first area done. We have to do 2 wings here, essentially. And this next area starts off pretty chill, but then the last 2 rooms we have to do, I don't know what they were thinking. They thought it was
Yeah.
really funny to just
Yeah.
put enemies right on top of you, like out of cutscenes and stuff, and it becomes super apparent here.
Yeah. And it's kind of a bummer because this is a very good lore sort of immersion section. And I suppose one of the strongest criticisms that I have and I've seen is that it's really hard to be immersed when the enemies are just like thrown at you en masse. And you'll see, like, this first area is not too bad, but the other 2 rooms that we have to come into, we're collecting these 3 little seals here to do a thing, and yeah, it's kind of just crazy how fast it escalates.
Yeah. And like it seems like it's escalating now in terms of like we said the game picks up, but trust me, it gets way, way, way crazier. This puzzle is you have to turn all 3 around to get to the last one. I remember a lot of people saying when guides were initially coming out for this, they're like, oh no, it's always this doll. Because on the
God,
first playthrough, it wasn't actually that doll. That was just the 3rd one they chose. We put the parts in as we get them because otherwise you have to wait for about 15 seconds before you can put another one in. This whole place is like a big labyrinth where we're pulling down levers and they're opening up doors but also closing others. So we have to go around here and get this other one. There's an enemy that's going to drop from the ceiling. I'm going to bait so that it lands away from me. And hopefully she does not think I owe her money. Okay, there we go.
I remember
And this guy too.
casually playing through this, I was like, how the heck are we gonna route this dude? This seems like a nightmare. Turns out it's actually really straightforward.
Yeah,
Like-
that's usually how it goes, right? It all seemed very confusing. You're like, how am I going to remember what's what? And it's like, actually, the way we do it, it's like you only really pull the lever like twice, and that's
Yeah.
basically it.
And it's so on the way that it's like, how could you even forget? Like
Yeah.
the order that you're supposed to do. So
So
Kinda
this
funny.
room is where we first see what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, what were they thinking? When we grab this item, there's going to be a mannequin, and you'll very obviously see it. It's right here. It's right on top of us. And then we got this one as well. So thankfully, they both did good RNG attacks and no instant attacks. Those ones you can usually avoid damage from if you get good RNG. This next one, however, you can't avoid damage on unless you want to lose time. Like you really just can't.
yeah. This is the part that threw everybody for a loop because it makes you run backwards through the way that you came in after pulling a lever that you would logically think would lock you out of this area.
Yeah, it's very strange, the layout.
Yeah.
But, once you've done it once, twice, or 20 times, it starts to become a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Now we're in this room here. Now we're in the candy store. We're going to grab this Higashi that's conveniently right here. And we hit this light, and you're like, where can they spawn the enemy that's going to be that inconvenient?
Yeah, good luck.
He's right here. Time of
He goes
dodge.
straight into the attack. Yeah.
And now when I go to this, he's going to catch up to me before I can even grab this, so I'm guaranteed to take a hit or 2.
Yeah, this section's brutal.
All right, not too bad. That's
No.
usually about as good as it can go. That is like as good as it can
He
go.
didn't body block super hard, which is nice.
Yeah, he can do also the overhead swing there on that when I do that pickup, which takes out half of your health and stuns you, and that is just disgusting when it happens. It is so not fun.
Not bad though.
Yeah, no, honestly, that went pretty well. I mean, the whole point of this area lore-wise is we're essentially like going to our friends and dooming them, and like we're going through their like nightmares, like Sakuko, I think, afraid of the dark, and then Rinko, we're dumping her into lava, and then Shoes, he lost his shoe. He's just hanging out in there.
Yeah. He's just hanging around.
He's just hanging around. Oh, I get it. He's just hanging around. This area is we're running to like a little mini boss, which ends up becoming a very common enemy, just like that big guy earlier. There's a little bit of RNG here. We're really hoping this enemy, right next to this next lever here, you'll see they're chasing me right now. If they catch up to me here, if they're fast, they get the good RNG. We have to reload a checkpoint, and I think they're far enough behind where they're gonna stop. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, there's
Um,
strangely a few doors that it won't let you interact with if you're in combat. And this is one of those doors, yeah. So you saw it a little bit, but it shows that like no F logo when you can't enter the door.
what is she doing? Kind of got unlucky RNG there.
Yeah.
So
So
we should be able to do this cycle still, hopefully.
these enemies fortunately have a pretty predictable moveset. They can sort of do this swing, which is the counterable move. That's the best move that they can do. They can do the scream, which just kind of stuns you, and that sucks. And then they can also shoot little, I don't know, blobs of snot at you. And as you can see, very, very tanky and hard, like super spongy. And that's gonna be the theme of hard difficulty. Well done.
Yeah, that was because she did the bad RNG where she kind of walked away, messed up the cycle. But the idea is the biggest, most threatening thing about those guys is they spawn other enemies. And the problem is they're almost always in the forced combat areas. And if they spawn an enemy, it adds to the enemy counter. So you have to kill them, and then you have to kill the extra spawned enemy. And they can spawn every enemy in the game. That includes the screaming dolls, the regular mannequins, and the dog guys. Ah,
Yeah.
so close. There's like a pixel of a perfect dodge you can do there to get you out of it, and it's hard. Obviously, it's very, very difficult. But that's this area done, which honestly went pretty well. Oh, frame drops and mouth smoothing. So they have Yep. So mouth smoothing. When your frames drop or are low, your mouse becomes incredibly sensitive. You cannot turn it off in this game for some reason, and this game has some nasty frame drops in certain areas. And so what'll happen is sometimes you'll just kind of see my mouse fly to the moon. And there's nothing I can do about it because it's just the frame drop. I try to predict when they're going to happen, and I just don't touch my mouse when it happens. But
Chasing me?
Yeah, some pretty crazy movement decisions. Anybody who's played the game casually on mouse and keyboard, especially, has probably noticed that unlike I don't know, every single game made in the last 50 years, A and D do not strafe for Hinako. Like most games, if you press A or D when you're running in a straight line, your character will kind of sidestep diagonally, right? In this game, Hinako will actually turn in the direction of the A or D press. So if you're holding right W and A running diagonally to the left, Hinako's angle will actually change to diagonal. And that introduces a lot of weirdness. Like anytime you see Zeke run into a wall, it's usually because of that behavior where his right turn press sort of overrode his forward press, and now instead of going diagonally right, he's going just straight to the right.
yeah, a lot of ways that they try to attempt to circumvent it is you have to kind of angle your mouse away
Yeah.
so that you can do the corner. You'll see me do that a lot where I'm trying to turn a corner and I'll just kind of angle like this to actually get the diagonal movement I want to get.
Yeah, mouse movement to sort of position yourself in the right direction is really important in this game, and it's really important on controller too. But on controller, it feels a little bit better, just due to the fact that like the directional movement doesn't feel so absolute, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely does feel like KBM on this game was a little bit of an afterthought in terms of its development. Now we're basically the objective is we have to get to Shu's house. We have to go to the Shu store, and
Finally make it out.
there's a lot of enemies on this mountain. We're basically going up and down the mountain is the whole idea here.
Yeah, we're gonna do a big loop back around, and lovely little frame drop alley. Everybody drops frames here,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's usually a second one like right after, like here. Oh, you didn't even get it.
All right, big time save then.
Lucky you. Yeah.
This is a hard exclusive enemy that always hits you no matter what.
Oh my god.
He's a very
So
fun
much.
guy.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know this. So you lift this first and then go get the key.
Yeah,
Because
we have to do
you
that on
spawn.
hard
Yeah.
because there is an extra enemy. So there's a dog that's gonna spawn here on top of me, but there's this lady right here that makes it impossible to do this thing second.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And now we're being chased again.
Yeah, fog monster back at it again.
We're gonna use one of our Higashis here, right when this guy puts his thing down. Now, if I take a correct line, I can avoid the stun if I do it correctly. Nope,
Oh,
we did not do it correctly.
that's the first time I think you've gotten grabbed, huh?
Yeah, other than the ones that you're forced to take.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna play it safe. Because the next touch does kill me. And I'd rather just play it safe. Technically, all the enemies here are in static scripted positions, and as long as I take the correct lines, as you very clearly saw me do not just now. Like if I were to take the wrong line here, I could get stunned, but you know, I'd rather just be a little bit safe about it. And we used our medkit earlier, but we can get an extra one here. So we have to escape the fog monster twice on this mountain. So we're gonna grab this Higashi that's right here, and there's a free medkit right here as well. We're gonna take. There's a big guy here who's blocking. I think he's blocking where that extra Omamori spawns. I think it's where the Daisy spawns potentially. I can't remember if it's
Oh,
right
is it?
here or not, but we can just ignore him.
Should mention this game has a lot of item types, like for a Silent Hill game for sure, but just like in general for any sort of like survival horror game. We have bandages for healing, which obviously do kind of like 30 to 40% of your health, and then we have med kits which fully heal you, and then there's kudzu teas which heal you progressively over time and also restore your sanity, I think. And then
Yeah.
yeah, there's just a ton of items in this game, and then we have the red pills, which in a new game plus run you wouldn't be allowed to take, but those restore some sanity and health as well. So just like a big variety of items.
Yeah, like a shocking amount. And they're all very impactful in their own way. Obviously, like the Higashi is the only one of its type that actually affects stamina. There's only one other item that I think gives you stamina, which is the sushi, which fully restores everything. But you don't really get many of those. I'm only going to grab one. Normally, you wouldn't grab any in the hard run, but there's a kind of a free one that we're going to grab for safety later. But yeah, there's a crazy amount of items, and we do have inventory space issues in this run, which we do pick up an inventory slot later. But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. Now, this is where things really, really, really pick up kind of dramatically, and the theme of the game kind of takes a turn.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna be going through these ritual chambers. This is like, right, the game has been rather kind in terms of throwing a bunch of enemies at you in a single spot. This is where the game is no longer kind. They will throw all of the enemies at you, and this game does sort of recycle enemy types quite a lot. So we're gonna see a lot of the same dudes. I mean, at this point, we've seen every enemy type in the game, right?
Yeah, besides the big drum monster, I think.
Yeah, I guess besides him, true.
All right, now we need this enemy not to be following us. We're gonna be locked out for a second, but if this enemy catches up, you're actually locked out until you kill it. We're gonna skip this cutscene, and things are gonna look a little bit different about Hinako. She's got a dog arm, or a wolf
Yeah.
arm, more
Something
aptly.
like
So, TLDR, she cuts off her own arm, and they gift her with a wolf arm, which unlocks. We basically no longer have the other weapons that are typically here in the dark world, if you want to call it that, or the other world. Now we have like a super powerful wolf arm and wolf abilities.
Yeah. Probably the most jarring part of the game is the transition from regular Hinako to beast armed Hinako.
Yeah. Okay, that was close. These enemies here are very not nice, so I have to be very careful. I'm gonna charge a focus attack because there's a dog guy that blocks this door here.
I don't know how you remember where to go in this section.
That is such a
Oh,
scam.
that's so unfortunate. So that focus attack that he did there, if he hits both parts of the focus attack, it does a guaranteed stun, which is really nice for a lot of reasons.
Then I have a forced combat here. I have to keep the enemy in this corner because if I walk out of this corner, there on hard, there is an enemy in the roof that adds to the enemy counter only if you aggro it. So we're going to do a counter here, which should stagger her. And I just have to keep her here. Otherwise, I will aggro that enemy on the roof, and that is not good.
Should note, there are like kind of some cool combos you can do by combining heavy attacks and light attacks when you have the beast arm. We're not really going to be doing any of that because light attacks are the name of the game. So we're mostly going to be pummeling her with a combination of focus attacks and light attacks. Nice.
Gotta be careful. This is also where we're introduced to the siphoning,
Yeah.
where we're forced to siphon enemies in order to progress. Like, there's that enemy up on the roof by me. I kind of looked at her for a moment. Any further into that room, she would have aggroed, and we would have had a very, very bad time. Because the second another enemy joins that fight, that means I can't kill the big one, and she will spawn another enemy. And it's just so much fun. I'm going to use a heal here. We now have another fight that's different on hard. Usually there's only 3 enemies in this room on story, but there's 5 on hard. So there's 3 here in the back, including one of the very annoying screaming enemies, and there's 2 that's going to spawn on the stairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to walk over here, and I'm just going to wait a minute. And then we need them to come down the stairs a little bit, and then I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to activate the new power we got, which is a really big wolf arm. And I want to kill about 2 of these enemies and weaken 1.
Nice. Yeah, I should mention, you get like kind of free counter windows when you're in this beast mode with the big arm. You don't have any health, so you're essentially invincible. You don't have any stamina, so you can swing to your heart's content. And any enemy you kill while you're in beast mode form automatically has their soul siphon. And should mention, soul siphoning prevents the enemy from respawning. It's kind of the actual blue light feature that they told us about that didn't work.
I have to be careful because, if I take too long, they will respawn. That would actually went pretty well. Got a lot of damage out on that beast mode. The idea is I cancel the beast mode as well instead of killing all of them with it because we get a little bit of the juice back, and we need to get as much of it back as we can because there's another fight here at the very end of this area, which is one of the worst fights in the game because there is so many enemies and a really big new enemy type called like a drum guy, and he's awful.
There we go. That's how that focus attack is supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed to work. Get this siphon. Now I should be almost full on the gauge there. You can kind of see it where the weapon durability typically is. When that's filled and lit up, that means that I can use the power again. That's a bad RNG here.
Oh. So lame that it gives you the dodge, the perfect dodge, but then you still get caught in it. Like, what is that? Come on.
All right. Now we're going to the final arena of this room. And it's a brutal one. It is not easy. What I'm going to do is we'll take actually a couple pills to give me the sanity that I'm going to want for this first enemy. This one's very easy to die in if I don't play it correctly. Let her jump. I need her to stand up before I use this, or else it won't work. So do siphon. I'm going to pop another pill here.
Yeah, should mention
kill this guy.
When he does siphon, it also restores some of the beast mode. Oh, I hate this.
Yeah, and then when you get hit like that, it does force the enemies back up.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is actually just transform now.
And you're probably noticing this slowdown like effect that happens whenever we do a counter or a perfect dodge or anything like that. It's one of those things where the slowdown effect does slow us down. It's like not necessarily optimal, but it's like, what are you gonna do? You know, the game forces it on you. And also, there's a mod that removes the slowdown effect. I messed around with it. It makes this game, which is already hard, absolutely impossible. The slowdown effect is like so necessary to the gameplay that if you play without it, you're like, oh, I see the problem here.
Yeah, these enemies are rough. Because I had to use the power so early, I couldn't get this one aggroed. So technically, it's slower to do it the way I just did it. But the idea is to not die. I think is like the
Yeah.
big thing there, because it's, as you can see, very easy to just die.
It was close for a second.
Yeah, it was definitely really spooky. This is kind of what we meant by the combat picking up, and this isn't even the worst of it. This is probably half of the speed it's eventually going to be when we get to the later parts of the game. But first, we have to deal with another boss fight, which is Rinko. And Rinko is a brutal fight. If things don't go your way, hopefully they go my way, you know, optimistically speaking.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
Ringo of the Beatles.
Grab this divine water. Now we have this new power where we can melt walls.
Yeah. Any of these walls with the sigils on them, we can actually melt. Which gets used, I don't know, 6 to 8 times in the game.
Not very many times.
Not very many times.
What am I over on here? That's interesting. That's not normal, but it's all right. Oh, I guess I usually have one less water here, so actually we're fine. All right, so we're gonna get married real quick, as you do. And we're waiting essentially to start the Rinko fight, which is gonna start in about a minute. Rinko is a very hard fight because she's very fast when she does her attacks. She has ads that spawn in the room that if they get touched by any of her fire attacks, which she can deliberately target them with, they'll turn into like a very fast bomb that will run at you and detonate. So we have to essentially, we're going to start the fight off in wolf form because it gives us that. And then we will suspend the whole form, kind of stunning her and keeping her in place until she eventually transitions. And then we go back into normal form. We're going to use a Higashi to get infinite stamina, and we're basically going to be doing a dance of hopefully getting good parries and counters, rather, and dodges while avoiding enemies. Super easy to die in this fight. You will die in like 2 or 3 hits because she can do these combos, especially when she has the fire whip. There's a whole lot going on. You know, Neil can touch on it a little bit as we're doing it because I'm going to have to focus on it, but you'll kind of see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Definitely, it's like they give you this cool wolf arm, and they're like, all right, you're a bit stronger. You know, you have this cool wolf arm. You can do cool combos. You can go beast mode. And then they're like, now skill check. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, it's a quiz. It's a pop quiz. Did you remember what we taught you?
Yeah, pop quiz. And yeah, the ads in this fight aren't like any other enemy, really. They're kind of their own enemy type, and they just explode, do a miserable amount of damage. It's not great. That first fire attack also does a ton of damage, but since we're in beast mode, that damage kind of just affects our beast meter. So, like, it's not as big of a deal to take damage when you're in beast mode because it's not doing actual HP damage, but it does lower the amount of time that you're going to be in beast mode. So now we are out of beast mode. The fight has begun proper. And you're going to see Zeke just going for the big counter windows there on those swings. Oh, unfortunate. Yeah, so the game is actually really particular about these counter windows, and you've probably kind of already seen it, where sometimes the boss will be doing an attack that otherwise would give you a counter window, but because you took damage, or because you're mid-swing, or any real random, sometimes just because the game's feeling like it, they won't give you that counter window. And you can see with the staggers, the counters are huge, not only for damage mitigation, but also just to do that extra like 60% damage that we talked about earlier. And the general gist is you have these schoolgirls that are getting lit up by Rinko, and when they do, they rush at you, and then they explode. Now we have some like Final Fantasy XIV don't stand in the fire, you know, World of Warcraft raid boss mechanics going on. It's a very busy fight.
Oh, nice.
Nice, really nice. Holy crap.
That was actually really good. Other than that hit I took at the beginning, which lost me a counter window, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
That fight can
really
go off the
didn't-
rails really fast. Like that one hit I took, you saw. I saw that you
I'm running out of time.
that I took. Jeez, good. I lost half of my health to that one hit,
Yeah.
which creates for a very very spooky situation. Grab this other Higashi here, and now we're
Gage.
gonna do some forced combat. This is where
Yeah.
it gets fun. This is where the game gets real exciting.
You can count along, chat. How many forced combat sections from now till the end of the game?
It is brutal. There are, I believe, 8.
Yeah. I was gonna say 9 actually, but
It might be 9. One might not be counted in like because I'm used to seeing on the splitter, but I think there's like 8 or 9.
yeah.
I'm gonna pop a Higashi here, and almost all of them have this enemy in it, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Which are they're like the normal birthing enemies, so these ones spawn bombs now.
Yeah, the blue eggs are just bombs, you know. Just trying to do as much damage with the knife before it before it breaks completely. The name of the game here is not breaking our knives. We do not want to break our knives. We can repair them, we can fix them back up, and then we can do more damage with them. And we're going to need to, but we absolutely do not want to break the knives. And what is actually kind of cool is even if a knife is 1 HP, it's 1 hit away from breaking, you can still do focus attacks, which is something that me and Zeke heard, and we didn't believe it till we tried it.
Yeah, weapons do not break if they're done with a focus attack, which is very interesting. Which, not super impactful in most of the game, but in certain situations, you're very thankful that that's the case because you can
Yeah.
get an extra hit out of it. And it's something to keep in mind too is, like I said, we have the Wolf Omamori, and we need to have higher durability on our weapon as much as we can, so that we get the extra damage benefit from it. So we are going to pick up an extra knife here before this next combat section. But we have to kind of run through the town a little bit. We're kind of walking around. We're like, oh my goodness, everything's all messed up. The property value has gone down tremendously.
Wait,
Yep. And we get a cool flashback here, explains a lot about the lore. We ain't watching it though.
We don't got time for that.
It's funny that it stops. It just, you run out of the area, the game's like, all right, never mind then. You don't care.
We're gonna pop a couple pills here to give me some sanity, so I have enough to do a focus attack.
monster.
And we're gonna get this knife, and I'm gonna pop another Higashi. This enemy is a little scary. We kind of have to kill her as fast as we possibly can, or else it becomes like a huge pain because she's gonna spawn this enemy right here.
I'm not going to become one of you.
Yeah, these sections, the longer they go on, the more out of control they get. So it's kind of important that you neutralize Big Mama as soon as possible.
We repair my knife.
Yeah,
Should be almost dead.
yeah. The knife damage is actually really good. Like if you tried to do this with the pipe and without like repairing it, without the Wolf Omamori, you'd be there for a hot minute,
How much further?
swinging. You'd probably break your pipe
Partner.
before you killed
You
her.
probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna use another repair kit on the knife because we're gonna use it later, and we'll replace our old sickle with this new one. 'Cause we're gonna use this sickle on an enemy later, in another very fun area. The house we have to return to, which is basically our house, but now it is so awful. Everything about the house is just the worst, especially on hard. It is so rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll, on New Game Plus story difficulty, this is the section where runs go to die. Like you can very easily die here. So remember that bit about no iframes? That's especially a pain, I would say, in this area more than any, because there's a lot of doors that we need to open, and there's like some puzzles that we need to interact with, and some other stuff. And at no point in any of it do we have iframes. And there's going to be a few spots where enemies are just kind of following us through the entire area. And obviously it's slow to kill them, and we don't want to waste weapon durability. So we're just kind of forced to bait them and, do what we can to avoid them.
On hard, there's a couple enemies where I just simply have to kill them because there's no really other option. It's either that
Well,
or I take like a 5% chance to die. So
on story, we also kill
they have to do
a
the
few
same thing,
enemies
yeah.
here. Yeah, like there's a few that are just like you can't really do the area consistently with that enemy there.
Yeah,
And
that room right there is especially rough. On hard, there's an extra enemy, an extra mannequin lady that's in there. She's gonna be right outside this door here probably. And it's very scary. Yep, there she is.
yeah.
Yep.
And this route changes depending on the ending that you're getting. There are 5 endings in the game, 4 in terms of full game endings. So if you're watching this and you're like, "Wow, that's weird. I played the game yesterday. This isn't where I went." It's because you may have been doing ending 2, 3, or 4. And it was very confusing seeing IGN like scramble to try and make walkthroughs and guides for this game because there was a lot of misinformation out there based on ending and difficulty and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was an incredible amount of confusion about stuff. Like especially when it comes to items. Like New Game Plus is very different. There's a lot of items in places that do not exist in New Game. Like there's a knife at the beginning of the game that you can get that was like giving me. I read about it and I wanted to find it for routing New Game, but I could never find it until it took me like a week to realize that it's only there on New Game Plus.
Looks like this
Yeah.
opens here.
And all these puzzles. So from this point on, we are effectively locked into our ending. If you're playing it casually, this is the point where the game has decided, or you have decided your ending based on how you played. First playthrough though, new game, you are always locked into that first ending. So I've seen a few people ask, like, what happens if you don't take the pills on your first playthrough? You still get the first ending. There's just a little extra bit of dialogue that acknowledges, like, oh wow, you didn't take the pills. That's pretty wild.
You know they heal you, right?
you know they heal you, right? You're supposed
We
to
just
use-
grabbed an extra spare knife in that bathroom, which we need desperately. We kind of want a little timer to get to this wax really fast because there's a dog enemy that spawns in the hallway to my left. Where if you're too slow, he will catch up and just start absolutely taking your lunch money from you. It is very, very unfun.
This hallway sucks. There's no other way to
Yes.
put it. I don't know what
This
they were
place
thinking.
blows.
This is just like the worst. Yeah, and it's like, so even if you get through and you don't get stuck the first time, you are guaranteed to get stuck the second time. So
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is, for the safety of the run, we're just
Just
gonna
wait.
wait it out. Yeah. I don't want to take
It-
the. Okay, dude.
does that. I
What are we
guess.
doing here, pal?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, but more importantly, it's a lot of health getting stuck in those little tentacle things.
Yeah, you take about a quarter of your HP. And now this is where I'm kind of forced to kill a couple of enemies. There's going to be one mannequin right here on this corner. I'm going to focus attack and kill hopefully pretty fast.
Yeah, we killed this one.
We got some air on that one.
in story too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, does this enemy out? No, it does spawn on story as well, right? The one that
it
spawns
spawns
here.
here too. Yeah, this one's awful when you're trying to do the picture puzzle in the next room.
Yeah. There's
I've
also a
died
dog.
in this cutscene.
Oh, yep. So there's a dog that spawns on the left here as well. So we have to kill this enemy really, really fast, or else we could die to the dog. So I'm gonna get a counter, hopefully.
Nice.
2 knife swings. We have to get in here before he comes around this left corner. You can hear him.
It's about to break.
Stim stomping. All right, we're out of there. If he gets aggroed, it is a nightmare. It is actually so unwinnable.
Yeah, so this whole section, see, like this part where you're putting the picture on the wall and the game kind of pretends to pause, and then this part where the picture falls off the wall, all of these parts you can take damage during. You can die during them. I know, it's happened. It's actually really funny because the cutscene will like continue playing out, and then the camera cuts back to Hinako, and she's just like headless on the floor. And you're like, all right, well, something happened while I wasn't watching.
And it wasn't very good, whatever it was.
Yeah. But yeah, we're kind of almost done with this section. This is another door that you can just get beat down during while you're opening. It's awesome. But yeah, this section requires you to sort of loop back around here one last time to grab the last piece that we need.
Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck on a basket.
Yeah, it makes you loop back around, and for added fun, they're like, here's like 3 more enemies in the area.
This guy is right on my tail. He's gonna probably hit me going in here.
Oh
Okay.
god.
Already.
Thankfully,
Hinako.
we get a cutscene there that kind of prevents them from killing us.
Yeah. Nice. That was very fortunate from all three of those enemies.
All right. We have one more enemy to deal with, which is
Yeah.
this dog here. I have to back up so he does not hit me while I'm charging this. I have to do it before he swings, though.
Yeah, he was going for the grab. You saw him looking around.
Yep, he was licking his hands. He's ready to really destroy me.
He
It
was
wasn't
like, "Who am I
looking
gonna hug today?"
good. Because you cannot do this puzzle with him around. He just absolutely destroys you if you try to.
Yeah, he'll knock you out of that interaction every time you go to do it. It's very frustrating.
And this right here is really diabolical that they put this guy right here.
Yeah, dude.
That is messed up. And then you got
Yep.
these two guys here on hard. There's two of them instead of just one. And you kind of just hope you can get through here.
yeah. Nice.
All right.
Actually didn't take any damage.
I
on
actually
that
didn't
dog.
get owned. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
lucky.
Wow. So pretty cool boss fight coming up. Like, arguably maybe one of the coolest.
This boss is the bane of my existence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not for new game hard runners, but so it's mom and dad, and dad is kind of a recycled version of the previous enemy. He is kind of like a turbocharged version, though. You saw him do the spit attack like 3 times in a row there. You can get stunned by all 3 of those, and it's awesome. And the goal here is going to be focus father, ignore mother. Mom is swinging like crazy. She can also like throw knives at you. She has a turbo attack, which she is going into right now.
Oh, I
where
got
she
hit
just
by that.
kinda- Just kind of goes crazy. And also, yeah, the sword attacks will take away like 70% of your HP every time.
Should be almost dead. There we go. Nice.
Nice, really nice.
Yeah, it's really like ideally you'd like to keep him still and try to kill him really fast, but on hard you just don't really have enough durability in your knife to get it in one cycle essentially, which is just one knife's durability's worth. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to play it safe, especially with the mom that she's gonna swing like crazy. You can kill the mom first. She'll drop you her knife, which is just a standard kitchen knife. But you still have to kill the dad. He has to die no matter what. But if you only kill him, the fight ends.
Yep. And there is an achievement for it.
Yeah, I did it on accident. I was like killing her first, and I was like, "This is too hard," so I killed him first, and the fight just ended. I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And now we're here for more forced combat.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
sir. Well, see, this is another 3 rooms. We already had, like, we're gonna be at like 6 coming out of this area, and then there's like another 3, and then there's another 2. Like,
Go in here. We need this guy to do a counterable attack. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution to the cause. So I'm gonna hopefully bait them here. If I can get them both with this, it'd be nice. Oh my god!
that's so lame.
How about neither?
The 7-10 split. Nice. The nice thing about the focus attack, actually, is it this way in New Game? If you kill them with a focus attack, it instantly siphons.
Yeah, that's a thing on New Game.
Yeah, it is weird. On New Game Plus, there are some mechanics to the Beast Arm mode
Oh,
that don't exist in New Game, which is kind of wacky. I kind of wish they did exist in New Game. But essentially, using any sanity restoration item will also restore your Beast mode in New Game Plus. It does not in New Game.
it'd be very nice if it did in New Game.
Right? Routing in the Divine Waters to restore your Beast Arm would be kind of tight.
Yeah, these force combats, like you cannot loot these items until everything is dead. As you can see, it can be a pain. That's actually I would say not the easiest of the 3 rooms. The last one I would say is probably the easiest of the 3. This upcoming one though is definitely the worst of the 3.
Yeah, the one with the drum dude is kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Because we have to save. We actually, and I say have to save, but we don't even have our beast mode to use, so we don't get to use it here. Which means we have to do this fight pretty organically, which is going to kind of involve me hopefully killing an enemy really fast and then killing the drum dude before things spiral out of control.
Yep. Should also mention, this is another puzzle section. You're not really seeing it because Zeke is going the right way. If you open the wrong door, there's like doors on every side of the room. If you open the wrong door, you have to do another forced combat section to get out of the room, to then pick a different door. So that's fun.
Turn around. What's he doing? He didn't stagger.
He did not stagger. Yeah, keeping this guy staggered is kind of critical. Mostly for the damage, but also to keep him from doing his really awful attack pattern.
See, now the challenge here is I need to siphon him.
Yeah.
Just stagger her
Weird.
away from me. Maybe I can get far enough away. Just kidding. Joke's on me.
Yeah, we're on a timer to siphon him before. Oh, no.
Yeah, there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's new game hard. That right
Yeah.
there is that's new game hard.
Of all things, this is like one of the most likely for you to die on.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do here is I did lose my Higashi, so I'm gonna pop another one. Okay, he's being a funny guy. Please stagger this time. Thank you.
There we go.
So we need to get as much damage in as we possibly can before the Goon Squad shows up, which they're gonna jump down now.
Kind of fortunate that he's body blocking a little bit.
Maybe I can use his body. Nice.
Nice. Really
All right,
nice.
so that was good. Me a counter, somebody? He's gonna wait out a counter here just to get a little. Okay, what are we doing? Multiple enemies is a very exciting
it's
endeavor.
crazy having 3 of them on you because it's like, when is your window? Like, when do you actually even have a chance to not get owned?
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
It's a very, very rough area, as you can see. This is probably where I die the most when I do runs, is on this fight specifically, due to the fact that there are 3 of them, and we can't use the beast mode here, because if we do, we will not have it for the last room, which is what makes the last room so easy.
Yeah. Doing the last room without beast mode just is really, really awful. This is also a section where there is an achievement tied to getting the correct solution based on the hints first try with no mistakes. And that's another, like, I don't know, like less than 5% of people have that achievement.
Yeah, not a lot of people know about the dog lights and pointing you in the
Yeah.
correct direction.
Yeah. There are very subtle hints to get you in the right way for this, but it's tough.
All right, so this room is another big, kind of pregnant monster that's going to spawn enemies. I'm going to grab this first aid, and ideally I'm going to focus attack this egg to kill it right off the rip. And then we're going to kill
Yeah,
this
so-
one.
So this egg that he's killing now will spawn a
Oh, no.
crawler. Damn. Guaranteed
She,
now.
I should be able to kill him. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. And that
What I'm going
last
to do
egg,
is kind of push her towards this other egg if I can.
yeah, that last egg will just spawn a regular mannequin, so it's not as big of a deal. But trying to get it down with the beast arm is kind of critical, so we don't have to soul siphon.
There we go. Ideally, I wanted to kill that egg while in the wolf form, because if you do kill an egg like that, it will not turn into its enemy. If you kill her before killing the egg, it will automatically spawn whatever is inside the egg. So they have to be dead before you kill that enemy, or else you will have a very bad time.
Yeah.
All right, now that was obviously, as you can tell, very high octane, a lot of combat area. Surely they wouldn't just throw us right into another one with also very similar gimmicks, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
they
That'd
wouldn't
be
do that.
crazy. That'd be so crazy. This cutscene has the vine boom sound effect in it. Just
It is
throwing that
very
out there.
funny.
It's really, really funny.
It's deeper into the cutscene, or else I would have played it.
like almost the entire way through the
This is
cutscene,
their
but
fault.
next time, you casually play through it, check out that cutscene. Once you hear it, you'll never unhear it.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what that. Oh goodness, she scared me. So this is unfortunate. We have to take this stun, and this guy's gonna be a funny guy. Okay, we're gonna hit this checkpoint, and we're gonna actually quit and reload. This is to make that enemy. That dog would have otherwise followed us into this arena, and there is no way that that's fun. So we reload the checkpoint there to force him away from us, and now we're gonna. We just have to kill the big enemy to get through. We don't have to kill that little one.
Yeah. Fortunately, the knife really does work on these pregnant enemies.
This thing is bugged out, I think. I don't.
What? What?
Die. Everything's
I
dead.
took a gamble on that last. Oh, okay. Hold on one moment.
Wow. Yeah, your knife broke.
Yep. That one's okay to break. We do get another one.
Okay. That
Uh,
dodge was really close.
That was a little spooky. We didn't get the perfect dodge, so it got a little spooky.
Yeah.
We'll kick off another repair in this life just to bring it to max durability so that I can actually kill this other enemy relatively fast. We are running low on repair kits, so I do got to be a little careful.
I'll slaughter you.
Yeah, so you probably saw the first time, and you saw there that whenever we catch up to the fog monster, Hinako gets kind of stunned, and there's a bit of a slowdown effect, and she gets a headache. And that in itself is kind of okay. The problem is there's that big dog dude chasing us right before, and while like no iframes, so while we're in that stagger stun state, which is kind of mandatory, you could just get totally destroyed.
Yeah, it is nasty.
Going to suffer.
Nice.
All right, save the knife. We get another knife here. We'll grab these capsules. We're gonna
Fault.
just eat that.
No.
We're gonna need more sanity. Actually, I get another. That's not what I'm talking about. We get another pill here, and another repair kit. We'll pop that.
Everything I cared about from me.
Since this fight is the harder one of the three,
Try to take
we have to kill this lady, and then we're gonna swap out this weapon back for a higher durability one, and we're gonna bait the dog over here. It's a funny attack. Come on.
There we go.
Now we switch to the knife. The hard part about this is there is another enemy here now. So we have to be careful. We're just gonna use a Higashi here, I think, just to make things easier.
Yeah. Yeah, as I mentioned, the longer you spend in these fights, the more hectic they get.
Yeah, they
Now-
get pretty nasty.
Now we got this dude, he's spawning his little flowers. We got this lady going for crazy lunges. Got an explosive that you have to keep in mind. Like, it's just... Oh my god.
Okay, it's all right. We just gotta take it a little easy here. Oh, my frame drop.
Oh, the frame rate.
Okay, we just take it a little slow. It should be fine. Gotta be careful of her.
Nice.
Okay. Definitely
good.
scary, but didn't die.
And that was the last forced combat section, is what I would say if I was
If there
alive.
weren't 3 more, 5 more.
Yeah.
There's 5 more.
Yeah, there's
Wait,
like
no, there's
5
definitely
more.
way more than 8.
Yeah, it's like 11, I think.
But now we're back with our wolf arm.
Such a feeble bride.
And now these combat sections, you would think with the wolf arm, they'd be easier, right? Because we have the wolf arm. But no. They really, really want to give us the worst possible enemies to throw in a small arena. The last one being the absolute worst one. This first one's not too bad. I say that now, but it's usually not horrible. So we're going to interact with this doll to spawn 3 enemies here on hard. It's usually just the 2, but on hard we get 3 mannequins. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run back here. And I'm going to wait. I kind of want them to pile up in here as best as they can. Usually we only get 1 or 2 right away. Oh, we got all 3. Nice. If I can get multiple hits with this is ideal. We got all 3.
Nice.
Now if I do it again, we can hopefully kill all of them with 1 more. We got 2, but it's all right. That's still pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Get up.
Yeah, and again, that's really nice when you do it with the focus attack because you skip having to siphon their souls, so it saves time on that. It just saves aggravation.
Yeah,
honestly.
it saves some heartache, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that was the last forced combat,
Is what we would say.
is what we would say.
Got another one right here. I'll grab this bandage for safety. I'm gonna drink this to give me max sanity, because now we're gonna have some dogs spawn. We're gonna let him come into the arena a bit. Oh, we got the unlucky 3 spawn on this one.
Yeah, I should mention there's a big ol' invisible wall. Not even invisible. Like a force field keeping you in this arena, and so if you run to try and preemptively hit some of these enemies, you actually can't because they're slightly out of bounds. Which is pretty fun.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they do this thing where if you kill one, please, not like this.
God, oh jeez.
Okay, it's all right.
Nice.
Don't hit me while I do this, please. That guy's stuck on that tree.
Yeah, she was like freaking out.
That guy was so tanky.
So tanky.
All right, now we're gonna take care of this doll.
Oh, that's so lame. That's so
That's
lame.
happened so many times this run. Oh,
Yeah.
frame drops.
Oh yeah, you're in a frame rate corner.
This is where the frame rate goes. All right, that's the end of this one.
Nice.
And that one probably looked pretty awful, and it's because it was. But that's not
Yeah.
even the last one.
Yeah, just wait.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
The world is celebrating me. I should go see my parents.
I remember Spicy coming into my chat, baiting me. He was like, "That was the last one. You're good now." I was like, "Oh, cool. My God." And then reached the next one. I was like, "No way. You're kidding."
Yeah, it's brutal. There's a dog that spawns here. I'm gonna kind of bait around. Hopefully we can get to this interaction before he shows up. All right, now this one is a little rough. We're gonna kill this enemy first. We need to kill her fast because there is a dog coming.
Rough. Because there's a dog. Yeah. Nice.
We need to kill this guy as fast as possible.
Yeah, so this is kind of cabin rules, RE4 cabin rules, where we need to kill one wave of enemies for the next wave to spawn. And in particular, there are certain enemies that need to die for the next set of enemies to spawn. So for the sake of speed, you kind of want to prioritize certain enemies over the other.
What I'm gonna do is we're gonna use the wolf form here. Because these 2 enemies are a nightmare to deal with.
This arm I've been given.
We want as many like cleave hits as we can get where we're hitting multiple enemies at once.
Nice.
Now we would like to get more value out of this. I don't think that's gonna happen. Maybe I can hit this guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
my
there's
goodness.
there's that
on.
wall.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? You do you, man. Now what I'm gonna do is maybe I can get a. Oh, just kidding. I'm gonna try to see if I can hit both with the focus attack here, which should kill the doll. Oh, I killed that guy.
If they didn't, they keep sliding out of the way when you go for these focus attacks. It's
Yeah.
really annoying.
They really love doing it. Now this is the last 2 enemies. I didn't even see the counter window, but I still got it. Nice.
Yeah. there is this thing in this game where even when they don't show you that little sort of 3D glitch animation, you can sometimes hit the counter windows. Yeah. So this game just kind of lies to you in a few spots.
We're gonna hit another focus attack on this guy. Hopefully I don't push him out of bounds on accident. It's a really unfun way to lose a bunch of time.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, he was right at the edge. of
Yeah,
that
you see,
wall.
this is where the invisible wall is, right where I'm stuck. So
Yeah,
that didn't go too bad, thankfully.
really tough section.
And now that is the last combat section, is what we would say.
Is what we would say.
Oh man, there are only 2 more forest combat areas now, and it's in this part. These ones are not nearly as bad as the others, thankfully. But this last one is a little rough, but it can. It's usually it's a bigger arena. It's not a very big arena, but it's still bigger than the other ones we've been given, so a lot more manageable.
Yeah. And they do kind of stack you with items in some of these last few areas. They're just like, all right, here's like every item in the game practically.
Yeah.
The road twists and turns. It's like I'm
Yeah.
walking through my
We're
head.
back where
Not
we were
bad.
at the beginning of the game,
Yeah,
honestly.
not bad so far, honestly.
Yeah, we had the one death at the very unlucky part, but
It's a quick death at least. There are
yeah,
some
that
spots.
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, like dying in Hinako's house, the checkpoints are just crazy. So
Mhm.
you'll get sent back to like the previous room before you picked up 2 or 3 key items, and some of those are just very unforgiving.
Yeah, they can be pretty brutal. This first combat area is just gonna be 2 mannequin enemies. One of them is like the red vine version of it, which means she's a little bit tankier and hits a little bit harder. But she's gonna drop first. Ideally, we get just a charge attack, and then we kill her, and then the next one will spawn, and we'll do the same thing.
You won't let me pass.
Little free toolkit, divine water there.
Let's attack this guy. That one's pretty easy. It's this next one where it gets a little bit more chaotic, since there's instead going to be a dog enemy, like 3 eggs and multiple mannequins. It's kind of wave based, but if I do it correctly, I can typically kill them pretty fast. Knife is a little worse for wear, so we're going to repair that really quick. And ideally, I would like to kill this egg on the left here before it opens up. So I'm going to do a focus attack into it.
Red with your blood.
Tried our best.
Stay out of my way.
Now we'll switch to the knife and we'll do another focus attack on this guy. Just kidding. He
There you
gave us a
go.
counter, so that's good. Now we're going to pick this up. The sledgehammer does a lot of damage. It's just super slow. And now we're going to stand here. And I'm going to just do a charge right click. This should one-shot the egg. And then we'll do it again on this enemy. The sledgehammer does insane damage.
But it's slow as heck.
It is incredibly slow. We'll do it again. Nice. It's actually a pretty decent fight.
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, we're gonna have 4 toolkits for the end. Okay, we're sitting pretty good. Now we're coming up to the final boss. Now we are done with the forest combat, actually.
Yeah, for realsies.
Now that we actually pointed it out, it feels like there's like 12 combat sections.
I think there is like 11 or 12. Yeah.
This is it. No turning back now.
All right, so let me double check how many Higashis I have here. I think I have enough. Should have like at least, we'll have 3, so that'll be fine. This final boss is a 3-phase boss fight. Very cool boss. Kind of frustrating with her moveset when you're first learning her. But I would say she's still the hardest of the bosses in the speedrun. She's just
Let's
not hard until her last phase, essentially.
Yeah, kind
So
of very interesting how she works and like how her phases work. Like if you played this game casually, you may have noticed you can't die unless you die more than 3 times in this fight. So like the first time you die, Hinako's like, I'm not leaving just yet, and the second time you die, she's like, not this time, and then you get one last try before you die for realsies.
Yeah.
And a result of that is in that sort of third death phase that Hinako gets in, your stamina restores infinitely, your sanity restores infinitely. However, we don't get any break on the phases that the final boss goes through. So there's no benefit to taking a death intentionally to get the benefit early. We just have to play through the fight.
So that was the first phase. I forgot to take the Higashi beforehand, so I got a little scary, but
Yeah,
we're going to charge a
fine.
focused attack here with the knife now, no longer using the sledgehammer. We want to kill her before she moves too far away. So she's going to spawn a little red circle underneath me. Oh, she didn't. Actually, she did an attack. Wait, that's actually really good.
Nice.
Now, she does, when on the start of this third phase, you're going to see her do this huge AoE red vine Twizzler attack, where essentially she's going to spawn these big red circles with all the vines, and we kind of just have to stay away from her while she does it. She'll do it a minimum of 2 times. If we do a really fast fight and do it correctly, we can kill her after the second one, but it's kind of hard to do on hard. So we're going to just wait a second while this happens.
If you die to this, it's minus 50 DKP.
Yeah.
You can't roll next week on raid night.
So she's going to spawn red circles. We're going to get a focus attack in. We're kind of hoping she does a punishable attack. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
As you can see, she just did my whole health bar. That was very exciting.
Lovely force damage there.
We'll just take this sushi to give us full everything. Prepare the weapon again and use our last Higashi. And I don't think we'll be able to cycle her unless she does something super, super punishable, but we didn't get very much damage in that last phase. Hit her through that.
Nice.
Oh, nice. We actually skipped it.
Huge.
That was really good. That last those dodges were insanely clutch. But that's the last boss. Now we have to do a little run through to the end of the game where we're basically we have infinite stamina and our health recharges, and we have infinite focus. We have 99 pills. The pills will instantly heal us to full and give us everything we need. But really, all we need to do here is run to the end. We're basically going to run through a lot of areas that we've already been through. It's kind of like a, hey, look, remember when you were here? And this is where it's kind of revealed that Hinako kind of lost it.
Yeah. This is the moment casually where you go, oh, they gave me 99 pills. Maybe I wasn't supposed to be eating those the whole game.
Yeah.
Leave us the hell alone!
Most of these enemies are just a complete non-threat. Because you're able to just run past them, and they can kill you, but they're all very telegraphed, and they're like in convenient enough areas where you can get around them and trigger cutscenes.
Dodging infinitely kind of helps too.
Yeah. There are some cheeky enemies in places here, like they're gonna bust down these walls.
Hinako,
Yeah.
we made a promise to each other.
As if the game didn't have
we?
enough surprise grabs.
Traitor.
Yeah. It's another one that spawns here.
Doing this. Please
Wow.
stop.
I am surprised the game gave you that.
Yeah, it was a little close.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
I messed up.
Now we're gonna run down this hallway.
Just
Time will come up when I trigger the cutscene at the end of the hallway, so I'll call it out. It's probably about a minute from now, less than a minute, more like 30 seconds.
Like my friends.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
look at all
these-
the pills on the ground.
It's a lot of pills.
We could start our own pharmacy.
Somebody at Walgreens spilled something they shouldn't have.
Just need to hold out a bit longer.
This other stun. All right, time will be coming up here in just a second. And time.
GG.
GG. Yeah, not a bad run. I mean, we took the one death. Honestly, only one death. Wait, did we die twice
Yeah.
or once?
No, once.
Yeah, so we took the one death and honestly, that's fine. Like I can't,
Yeah.
and it was in an area where I kind of expected to die, but it was honestly pretty good. Didn't die in like the boss fights and such, and last boss went really well. So yeah, no, that was Silent Hill F New Game Hard. This run is, as you can tell, very challenging. It's a new game. It's definitely a fun run. New Game Plus is also super fun. I'd recommend trying it out. There's a lot of good enjoyment to be had. But yeah, no, thanks Niddle again for being on comms. Shout out to LP, Yasi, and Mark for putting on Breaking the Habit. They've been doing it for a while now, and it's always great to see them raise money for such a great cause. I'm always happy to see it. So I appreciate you guys having me on.